What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we're feeling a bit nostalgic. So we're going to look back at our first video ever, maybe another one. We got some rumors on tap, but before we get into all of that, Doug, how's it going, sir?
Well, Keith, let me tell you, you're right. I am feeling just a tad bit nostalgic. Keith, as a fellow nerd, we've been at this for a little while. We've been looking at movies and TV shows, and, it always brings a little nostalgic tear to my eye every time I think back to our humble origins. Going to a theater and sitting in the seats, and, oh yeah, I wasn't there.
But you came on a little bit later. The channel really took off once you came on. With just me and Dave, it was, boomers are us.
Oh, God. You're not even boomers.
No, I'm Gen X.
But no, I still, every now and again, I'll go back and I'll watch those videos. I enjoy them. I like what you guys did. It was good stuff. I really liked the channel, from the start. And, this will be fun. I actually, I went back and I rewatched the old video. And, man, you and Dave, you were kind of made for this. And I am so glad that you started the channel. Not Your Status Quo, amazing. And you know what? From the very first video, you guys clearly have passion. But you know what, Keith? Before we get into that, sir, how are you doing?
You know what, sir? I am tremendous. Always love talking comic books. Love, we do have some rumors tonight and maybe a first look at something.
Ooh.
But it's nice to go back and see how far we've come with things we've done. I mean, I got 2 videos downloaded we can look at. The first one is our Thor Ragnarok. The second one I wanted to show is our Avengers Infinity War trailer breakdown.
Oh.
Because I think how we pulled it off is pretty hilarious. And we'll talk about that. You can hear my son crying in the background because he was much younger at the time.
Oh, wonderful.
You hear my daughter talking. So, it's all good things. But for those of you wondering, Dave is not here tonight. He's actually working at Hasbro Inc. on a new G.I. Joe cartoon that they want to release on Paramount Plus. It's going to be an adult-oriented G.I. Joe, just what we all wanted. So we're looking forward to that. And Dave, yo, Joe!
I hear in this reboot, they're not actually going to let Cobra get away.
The only thing I asked Dave, I said, okay, Dave, this is great. We need a more adult-oriented one. Can we just please have the same voice actor for Cobra Commander? He agreed to it. He said he wouldn't do it any other way. So,
I'll get you next time, Joe. Whoa, hey, war crimes.
It's going to be amazing. We can't wait to see it with Dave as the showrunner. We know it's going to be phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely.
And have your absolutely drink ready when we watch our Infinity War video.
Oh, no.
I say it a few times.
That must have been before we instituted the drink rule.
It was. I never noticed it until I watched it. I was like, that's why we did it, because we say that word a lot. Makes sense now. But are you ready to watch our At the Theater spoiler-free review of Thor Ragnarok?
I am, and I hope we don't get any copyright strikes.
Sitting in the theater, getting ready for Thor Ragnarok. Pretty excited.
Oh, hell yeah. It's going to be an excellent movie. I hope.
If Rotten Tomatoes is
Look
to
at
be
those
believed, it
youthful
will be
faces.
phenomenal. So, looking forward to seeing
So
it.
full of life and dreams.
Yeah.
Look at that title card. Oh my gosh, Thor, what's up? All right, we just got out of Thor Ragnarok. I think, without question, the best Thor movie.
Definitely the best Thor movie.
Phoenix Theaters.
You haven't been at Phoenix
Yes,
in a
I
while.
did think they went a little too much for the comedy, but overall, great movie.
And Dave, hating, of course.
Of course.
Too much per se.
It's been from the beginning.
Kate Blanchett.
You're giving good. Oh man, I really like it. It's good. The actors are great. Boring. I don't like it.
Too much comedy.
I don't want to reveal too much.
No, sure.
It was Very entertaining. Very
Very,
good movie.
very stylistic, very Jack Kirby art. Doesn't said a lot. I didn't want to say that, but it's very true. And I don't think I can recommend this enough. Go out and see it this weekend. I'm definitely seeing it again. Hopefully Saturday or Sunday.
I will be seeing it again as well.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Till next
Post-credit
time.
scenes.
Oh yeah, 2 post-credit scenes in this movie.
So, was this a watch again?
If you like what you see, subscribe, and more videos will be coming. Thanks a lot.
See you next time.
So yeah,
So you,
the good thing is our initial idea for At the Theater Reviews has stuck
Oh,
all
yeah.
these years. So we still do it. We've refined it a bit. We have an opening now, and we are a little better at editing.
I love your two end credits.
Do you know why I do that? Do you know why I always
No.
do? In baseball, when there's 2 outs, if people do this, it's hard to tell. So if you do it like this, people like in the outfield can see it better. Because I
never
played
knew
catcher,
that.
so I'd be like 2 outs.
Interesting.
People in the outfield would know.
Thought you were
and-
doing it because it was like more of like a rock themed thing going on.
Exactly. Plus, I do it. My one sister-in-law hates when people do it. So whenever I get a chance to say 2, I always go, that's about 2 of them. But yeah, it's nice going back and looking for. Had a little more hair at the time, a little darker,
I wasn't gonna say anything.
but
Question. So you guys didn't have any kind of like rating system back then or anything. You just pretty much gave like your initial thoughts coming out of the theater, right?
exactly. No ratings. We didn't have the Doug scale yet, so we just pretty much, hey, we liked it. You should go see it. It was this. It was that. And the funny thing is, a little known fact, a little not your status quo trivia.
Okay.
We had no plans to record a video that night when we went.
Really?
And, Dave and I had been putting a website together and we were going to do reviews and stuff. And we went to see it just to do a review for our old blog. And we're just sitting in there and we had been talking about starting YouTube videos or something, trying to figure it out. And we're like walking out and Dave was just kind of like, you know what? We should just record a video right now. Oh, we were walking in, I'm sorry. And he's like, we should just record a video now. And I'm like, just like our review? He goes, yeah. I'm like, that's a great idea. So we decided to record before the movie and then record after. And, that's still stuck. But we had no plans when we saw it. It was just going to review for our blog. And
That is a great idea. I had no idea. I didn't realize that. Wow, talk about humble origins. I mean, like, think it split timeline. Taking it back to like comic book things. Like, what if you had decided, no, I don't really feel like being on camera. I don't want to record. Video never gets recorded. Maybe not your status quo never happens as a YouTube channel. It just stays as comic book status, the blog.
Yep.
Man, that's crazy.
It is. I mean, I was laughing about it. I was talking to Dave like a year after we did it. And I was like, man, I'm so glad you said, hey, we should do this, because otherwise we would have never done it. And I think it's turned out pretty good, if I do say so myself.
I agree. I am very glad. So let me ask you then, since you didn't really have any kind of rating system at the time, if you were to, do it with all of that in place, what do you think you would have rated it? Walking out of the theater after having seen it.
For Ragnarok, I probably would have given it about an 8.2. I mean, I really liked that movie.
Nice. All right.
Everything about that movie just kind of struck home. It kind of took Thor away from that ultra serious Shakespearean type thing and just gave the entire Thor franchise new life. Now, unfortunately, Love and Thunder kind of declined.
I think they took it too far, yeah.
But
that was something I noticed. I was actually, in order to do this tonight, I actually rewatched Ragnarok to kind of, figure out. It's been a while since I've watched it. I've always enjoyed the movie. It's a fun movie, but it's been a while since I've watched it. I kind of got out of the whole Infinity War mindset. And by the way, shameless plug, y'all should check out, if you're watching this and you like the reviews, check out the Road to Infinity War playlist, where Keith and Dave go back through a whole bunch of other videos leading up to the Infinity Saga. It was really cool. Loved those videos. I've watched them a couple of times. But, there were a couple of things that stood out to me that I didn't realize when I had originally saw Ragnarok. And it was, like, for instance, did you notice, I don't know if you've seen it recently, but did you notice I kind of did like an auto-tune voice on on Hulk when he was in Hulk form?
I didn't.
Yeah, it's unusual. I went back and I played it back, and I'm like, I didn't just hear that, did I? And it was like, it sounds like, T-Pain or something. It wasn't a smooth transition. It was almost like they knew, okay, we got to make this deeper, bassier voice for this character as he's Hawk, and it's like they forgot about it until it was like ready to ship the final product. Like, oh no, quick, just throw some auto tune on, and it's noticeable. It's not bad, but it is noticeable. It stood out to me, and I was like, huh,
It's probably
that's a
something
voice.
when you notice it, you can't unhear it then.
Yes. And then I heard it with every line delivery that he gave. Oh man, but still a fun movie, and I think it was balanced a lot better. You had mentioned Love and Thunder, where I think they went way too far on the deep end with the comedy. And while I do enjoy a more comedic take with Thor, and I thought Ragnarok had like the perfect balance. Thought it was great. They had Jeff Goldblum just be Jeff Goldblum, and it just turned the camera on him and said, "Hey, just do you."
Hey, do I have any lines? Just be you. Okay.
They dumbed down Thor quite a bit, and it was kind of fun. Like, oh my gosh, I still crack up whenever I see him enter the arena, and he goes, "Oh, I know this guy. We work together."
He's a friend from work.
Right.
But
And
it's
then
it
just-
still had great action. We got Surtur
Oh, yeah.
at the beginning. Everything set it up. Having
The opening, I forgot how it opened. I totally forgot that it opens up with just Thor talking to a skeleton in a cage. And it's like that sets the tone for the whole movie. It's like, oh, okay, so we're doing goofball, all right.
and it really that same sort of Thor transitioned into Infinity War, and has kind of been since. Now, of course, unfortunately, Love and Thunder just was two extremes to both sides. Having a villain like Gore the God Butcher, and then having some of the absolute silliest moments in the MCU just didn't work. But it was much more balanced in Thor Ragnarok. It was entertaining, great action. Thor and Hulk fighting, and then escaping from Scar, Valkyrie. The silliness was, like Loki pretending to be Odin, and just him getting caught and stuff. It wasn't like overdone like it was in Love and Thunder. Just a quality movie. It's still my favorite Thor movie, and I haven't watched it in a little while, but I'm probably due for a rewatch here pretty quickly.
Definitely. I was thinking if I had been there at the theater with you gentlemen, and we did like a rating on the Doug scale, I think I would have given it, weirdly enough, and I know this is higher than you, but I would have given it an 8.5. Just because it was so different. It was so, I don't even know like how to put it. It was so abnormal from what we had received before. I mean, we had had good MCU movies, and at the time, MCU was just, it was good movie after good movie. It was like you could count on it. If any of you have been, following us for a long time, you may remember that our old tagline on the YouTube channel was, "Hey, DC not really doing live action all that well, but their animated stuff is quality. MCU is knocking it out of the park with all of their live action stuff," and that's how it was for a long time. And then to see the movie that's going to lead right up into Infinity War be this just like amazingly hilarious Thor movie that balanced the action, balanced the comedy. I was blown away when I saw it. So yeah, if I had went to the theater with you gentlemen, been there on that fateful night, the birth of Not Your Status Quo, the YouTube channel, then yeah, I probably would have given it an 8.5, and it's definitely a rewatch. It is not one of those movies where if I'm watching at home, I'm not going to pick up my phone. I'm not going to. Yeah, you cannot be bored by this movie.
You are absolutely right, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, are you ready to watch? Now, our second video we made was the At the Theater review of Justice League, which we're going to skip that. I didn't download that.
Okay, thank you.
Didn't break any new ground. But I wanted to show the Infinity War because we're doing a trailer breakdown, which we still love to do. It's still a good time.
Yeah.
But we didn't have OBS. We didn't have any other software to help us. So I don't know if you've ever seen this video before.
I don't know. I might have. I'm not sure.
So we handled showing the trailer in a different way. Since we had nothing to post a screen in it. Are you ready to check it out, sir?
I am. Okay.
We left this opening screen up for too long.
There was an idea.
Oh, really? You just had it playing on the TV. And then I see the glare from a laptop.
That's my laptop.
genius.
Yeah, we see a light. We see my bald spot a little bit. I shouldn't have been turning around watching the TV.
We can fight the battles.
Well, this is an interesting way to go about it.
Okay. One thing
It was very, for us, we had to, because Dave would just come over to my house and then we'd like shoot videos or talk. You saw it on the Road to Infinity War. We'd be sitting like in front
Right,
of
yeah.
our window with the curtain closed, just at a little table talking. So we were like, how do we do this? I'm like, because at the time, the software I was using to edit, I couldn't cut a video.
Oh.
So I couldn't
okay.
like cut, have us talk about it. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just play it on the TV and do it that way. And then it was funny because we got comments from a friend of the channel, JT, who has been on the channel before on our review for Jurassic World Fallen Empire or Fallen World. What had fallen? Who cares? It was a terrible movie. But he was like, you guys really need an intro. And yeah, there's like software out there where you guys can do a whole bunch more. And that's where I learned, about DaVinci, about OBS and things like that, where you're able to do a little better job. I can cut videos up so we can talk about it, splice, has, a little bit of the trailer in there. But this was our way of handling it at the time.
You see all the software out there, like a whole new world.
Especially free stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I can do multiple audio tracks and video tracks, and I can, how is this free? This is crazy.
The funny thing is, Not Your Status Quo is not alone in that. I remember back when I watch a lot of YouTube, in case you guys don't know this. I watch maybe a little too much YouTube, but a lot of channels that I used to watch way back in the day, we're talking, like 2010, 2011, around that time, they were suffering with a lot of similar issues. Not everybody had a lot of good software, a lot of good editing stuff, so for you guys starting out, what was it, 2014, 2015, something like that?
2017?
Maybe, yeah. Still, I mean, either way, most YouTube channels, when they first start off, they don't really have a grasp on things. I think a lot of it is very much like what happened with you guys, where somebody just says, you know what, I have something that I need to say, and I need to say it into a camera and, put it out for the world to see. And, a lot of times you're not thinking about, okay, I need to have, a microphone. I need to think about my audio tracks. I need to think about recording, cutting a video, adding in an intro or whatever. It's usually just face in the camera. Here we go. Upload to the internet. So I'm not even mad by it. A lot of people, and honestly, it's an ingenious way. I wouldn't have thought to just have the TV playing in the background. God, imagine if we would have just done that with the Sony trailers.
We wouldn't have gotten demonetized.
Right?
The video demonetized on our channel. But, and it's funny too, because, thinking back on it, we had no idea what we were doing. But as soon as we started doing it and talking to other people, I started noticing other videos and how they handled it. Like, prior to doing this ourselves, I would watch a video. I wouldn't pay attention to any editing and stuff. I had no idea. Now I find myself sometimes, I'm not even listening to what they're really saying. I'm just like, how did they do that?
You're watching.
Yeah.
I actually do that a lot more now. I don't even know if I really noticed it right away either. But, now being part of a channel, I do pick up on these things every now and again. And there's been a couple of times where, I'm like you. I'm watching a video and I'm not really listening to what they're saying, because I'm like, oh, that was a slick transition. Oh, that was kind of cool. Oh, really? That's a really cool way to do a graphic. I was actually just watching a video the other night. It was somebody doing a review of The Last Jedi. And they had to intercut these, little video clips, but they didn't do the full screen. It was just in the corner of the screen to sort of emphasize something they had said. I'm like, well, that's an interesting way to do it. I hadn't thought of that. Whenever I've edited in any kind of video clip, I put it in the entire screen. I don't know why. You don't have to do that.
But I do the same thing. And maybe it's something will change. Now, would you like to let's continue watching this to see
yes, please.
what we
Sorry.
say about it and how right we are everything we say.
100%. Never wrong.
There, where is Thor standing?
Probably in the Milano. I was assuming. I don't think we know for sure, but he appears to post Guardians picking him up from.
Right. I get it. And I noticed that the Vision had skin.
Yes. So is that something he's doing with the stone, the Infinity Stone, to? Because in the comics, the Vision and Scarlet Witch have a romance, so is this the start of that, and it helps for him to appear more human to her to kind of get that going along? We don't know. We guess. It starts out, with Tony Stark looking like the Earth is kind of
Bashed
in
up
real.
already.
Yeah. So
Hanging out in New York.
in New York, yes, we see Bruce Banner in the Sanctum Sanctorum, Doctor Strange's area.
As Bruce Banner.
As Bruce Banner. And just so you know, I can now say Sanctum Sanctorum correctly, not like I did there. So, how did he get there? We know at the end of
Well, that's
Thor
good.
Ragnarok that Sanctuary 2, Thanos' ship kind of shows up with, we're assuming, to collect the Tesseract from Loki, which we see a little later in this video. During the fight, does Thor somehow send the Hulk here to get help? Or, I can't imagine he ends up here just by chance.
Or do they somehow make it back here before anything happens?
Right, because Doctor Strange, Thor did meet Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok, so that connection might be there. We assume, for those of you who've seen the leaked footage from Comic-Con, you know that Thor ends up with the Guardians. He lands on a windshield, they kind of pick him up. So something happens, Thor ends up in space, Hulk ends up at Doctor Strange's house, and all seems to make pretty good sense. We're getting the new Marvel Studios intro, which is very cool.
It just gets me hyped
It's
up.
a good way to overcome being they end up at Doctor Strange's house.
Feel so desperately that you're right, that you fail all the same. Dreaded, run from it, destiny still arrives.
I laugh because if you watch, you can see my daughter is the one controlling the TV. Why I didn't just have the controller myself, I don't know. But she was sitting behind the camera, and I'd be like, and then she would pause it.
Hey, you know what? Get the kids involved.
That's right.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's right. Sully likes to get involved now, as you know. He'll probably come in here and start shouting stuff at us about either the
We
MetaQuest.
bonk you in the head again.
Yeah.
You need another concussion.
Don't remind him. But let's get back. Let's hear some more. And we were right. The Hulk was sent to Doctor Strange,
Doctor
during
Strange's house.
his house, yes. And, Thor was beaten up pretty badly and was floating in space after Thanos and the Black Order kind of destroyed his ship. So, right on all accounts, still 100% accurate. Might have been a little early pause there, but a lot of stuff is just going on right there. We see, obviously, Iron Man is with Bruce Banner, Doctor Strange, and Wong. How he gets there, maybe Doctor Strange calls him, we don't know. He does not have his armor on.
That is the outfit he wears underneath his armor.
Yes. Yep.
So Kit is probably nearby.
I would assume so. That probably doesn't go very far without it. We also,
Saw Spidey senses tingling. That was pretty cool.
a lot of people said, when Spider-Man Homecoming came out, that we didn't see the spider sense go off or use it. So it's cool to kind of throw that in here, a little fan service for everyone who really wanted to see the spider sense. We see something in the sky. Peter Parker sees something in the sky. I'm assuming that's Thanos bringing his army there somehow.
Somehow through that gateway
Yep.
into the universe. So, poor New York. They keep taking a beating.
They certainly do. And you see Thanos kind of appearing through a portal. It appears to be Earth, I'm assuming.
Like you guys thought that the
And you'll see
spinning
later
ship
in
was
the
like a
video he
gateway or
does
something.
Well, it turned out to be accurate.
Okay.
Looks like he has the Power Stone and the Tesseract, which we know the Tesseract is the space gem, opening doorways through space. So he's probably using that to teleport around, possibly, but opening up holes and getting to where he needs. And can I just say, too, at the time, that was one of the first trailer tricks we fell for, when all that was in the glove was the Power Stone and the Space Stone. When movie time come, he had all of them, but the Mind Gem from Vision.
Oh yeah, that one too. Yeah.
Well, he had the time one because remember he turned the time back to kill Vision.
Right. Okay. Yes.
They tricked us.
And as we saw, Loki
Pretty
handed
good.
to him right
Oh,
there.
wasn't one of the other trailer changes? Didn't they make it so, you was it like they had Hawk in there, during the big battle in Wakanda?
Yeah, that's coming up. You see him running with the team, and he was not in this movie. There, trailer tricking Marvels. Yes, we do see Loki handing the Tesseract, which looks like Thanos has possibly, or the Black Order has kind of destroyed the Asgardian ship that we see, them leaving on it at the end of Thor Ragnarok.
It kind of looked like Loki had taken a beating too. He was all
Absolutely.
messed up.
And Loki being Loki, he's giving it up to save his own hide. I'm sure he has plans in place to either help.
By the way, I like a minute ago that you did call out the Black Order. I was waiting to see if you would actually say it. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that. I know that you guys definitely know more about comic book stuff than I usually do. But
And I do talk about
when you were talking about the ship earlier, I wasn't sure if you were going to mention that or not.
And I do mention Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive coming up here. Some of the other Infinity Stones.
Very good.
Because I'm sure Loki knows all about them. And he has plans on plans on plans.
He's the god of mischief.
Absolutely. Drink.
Fun isn't something one considers for balancing the universe.
Nice stopping point, really.
I mean, once again, we saw a lot right there. We see Thor. It looks like he's trying to shut something down. Maybe it's the Guardians and Thor are trying to stop the army from getting to Earth. Proven right. He wasn't just trying to open up, that thing so he could get a new hammer. He was stopping them from coming in.
Sure. Yeah. That's what was happening.
We don't really know at this point, but it looks at least like Thor is trying to shut something down and slow Thanos down. So it's very possible that the teams may not meet up right away, or even in this movie, but the Guardians and Thor will be working on one thing to slow Thanos down, and maybe the Avengers are on Earth. Looks like a lot of at least the major battle scene is going to be in Wakanda, which could mean the Soul Stone is in Wakanda, which is one of the theories out there, so that's a possibility, or Heimdall perhaps has it.
So it seems like at that point you guys already knew that this was going to be split into two different movies.
Yes, we mentioned that the next part.
Well, I heard you say a minute ago, the big fight is going to take place at least in this movie, and I was like, oh, okay, so they already knew. All right.
Yeah, because they had originally announced it was going to be Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, and then they said it's not going to be Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. It's going to be Infinity War, then something else. And we even talk about how they said that we're not going to know the title till after this movie because it's a giveaway, or it's a spoiler.
I like that theory.
And they know that maybe with all of the advanced technology there, it's the best defense against it. As you can hear, the Black Panther is saying, evacuate the city, prepare all the defenses, and get this man a shield, referring to Captain America.
Who caught that freaking sword? I mean, who threw it though? I don't
It's
know.
I think it's Proximity Midnight. She's one of the Black Order, and she has something like that that she uses. So I'm assuming it's that. It was pretty damn cool that he caught it like that. So we don't really see much of the Black Order except this. And the funny thing is, we see that part of that scene, which is one of my favorite scenes from Infinity War, when the Scarlet Witch and the Vision are fighting Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive. and all of a sudden, like that train's going by, and then all of a sudden you just see Steve Rogers, and they play that Avengers theme, and man, that just hits every time. And then she like throws it at him, he just catches it, and then it's on. I love that scene so much. That'll never get old. Might be Glaive, who carries a sickle.
I like that the idea that she was throwing that sword. I like that was kind of your giveaway that this is probably Proxima Midnight. She's got a sword like that and she throws.
Then you see me here. I'm talking about Glaive because you can see the like that that she uses. So I'm assuming. Oh wait, went too late for Captain America.
Who caught that freaking sword? I mean, who threw it though? I don't know.
It's I think it's Proximity Midnight. She's one of the Black Order, and she has something like that that she uses. So I'm assuming it's that. It was pretty damn cool that he caught it like that. So we don't really see much of the Black Order except
I just noticed the child lock.
Glaive, who carries a sickle quite like that, and we'll start this again in a minute. Seems like we see Proxima Midnight throwing the thing that Steve Rogers catches, and then we also earlier when you see Thanos kind of slamming Spider-Man down. I kind of paused it a couple times when I was watching it earlier today just to make sure it is him, because there's another part of the Black Order named Black Dwarf, and he's pretty big and he's super strong and basically indestructible. So I wanted to make sure that wasn't him, but it is definitely Thanos slamming into the ground. See that?
One thing I've noticed here is he is in his regular skin. It's the regular vision, so this is obviously, when I look at a preview, I don't know when you do, I always think for some reason it's chronological. I know it's not, it never is. They want to throw you off so you don't know the whole plot. But obviously this is out of order.
Well, it might not be. It could very well be that earlier vision he's using the Mind Stone's power, because we know all of the Infinity Stones has amazing power. He has the Mind Stone. I think it's the Mind Stone, isn't it?
I believe.
So he could be using that to make the Scarlet Witch see him in human form, because we still see it glowing.
Even sharing your silver lining there with Dave, and he's like, I don't. I usually watch these and I think they're in chronological order, and I know it's not. And you're like, no, it might be.
And if you just heard, Sully was crying in the background just a minute ago.
I didn't catch that.
I do like that you saw the childproof lock on the thing right there.
Right, yeah. It kind of like I noticed that out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, that's right. I forgot. Sully was still a baby.
Just a little man.
Or was that to keep Tessie out?
Tessie, yes.
Dad, I can't figure this out.
Very disgusting.
Does put a smile on my face.
Pause it. We didn't show much there, but I think a lot is going on. I think first and foremost, like Dave said, they kind of show, it looks like they're trying to remove the Mind Stone from the Vision, and then you see Thanos adding a stone to the Infinity Gauntlet. But it is blue, and I'm assuming it's the Tesseract, because we see Loki giving it up earlier in the trailer, and the Tesseract, or the Space Stone, is blue. He's adding it to it. The other one we see, and I think this is very important, is the power. Let me just say, you're about to hear a theory that is proven 100% right about that in a minute. Power Stone, in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and the last we know of its existence, it was in Xandar. So I wonder if this movie is going to start out on Xandar, with Thanos coming in, destroying the place to collect that stone.
Wow.
It may. And yes, if you remember, the beginning of Infinity War is him on Xandar destroying the place and fighting all the Novas to get the Power Stone. So once again, we can't reiterate it enough. Right, 100% of the time.
100% correct. To be fair, we did mention during, I think, the Marvels or something like that. We had talked about how it would have been nice to actually see this stuff instead of just the implication. Because I remember when we were watching that, and we're talking about like, oh yeah, this his destruction of it came, and then all of a sudden, then we've got Captain Marvel, and she's killing their god, and their ocean is going away. And it was like one thing after another. It was like the worst things that could possibly happen to this poor planet.
But just maybe, we know there's a Nova series being developed by Marvel Television. Maybe we'll see Thanos destroying Xandar, getting the Power Stone for that. Maybe that'll be part of Richard Rider's, not Dick Rider, Richard Rider's origin story. I don't want you people out there calling him DR. It's Richard Rider.
Now, is this a patented, 100% correct, never wrong Keith Theory Palooza?
100% accurate, sir, all the time. We're 100% accurate 100% of the time. As you can see from this Infinity War.
Go back and watch our WandaVision series to see how correct we were.
New rock stars, Screen Crush, they all want to be us because we were just right all the time. We just nailed it. We didn't go overboard thinking crazy stuff. We were very grounded in our approach to our theories, and we were just always right. We didn't talk about Mephisto for, hours on end. Never once. I'm glad you pointed that out, Doug.
That's how the Guardians kind of get involved. Xandar, the Nova Corps, reaches out to the Guardians, saying, "Hey, Thanos just basically blew up Xandar, took the stone that you left with us. We need help. Pick up Thor, floating through space, and that's how they get on their path in the Infinity War. Just a theory. Who knows?"
Once again, proven right. We see the Nova Corps call the Guardians, saying, "Hey, that stone you left us, that just giant purple monster just stole, and we need you guys. We need your guys' help." So, thank you, everybody.
I mean, you are kind of on the right track. I don't know if you're going to mention this later on at all, but he does, go to take an Infinity Stone and destroys nowhere. So, I mean, you were kind of on the right track. I wouldn't have guessed that just watching this trailer, but yeah, you had the pieces. You had the pieces. You just maybe wrong location, but otherwise,
And that's what they do good with these trailers. They give you little hints and little tricks to lead you down one path. So when you see the movie, you're like, "Oh, nice." They change things up a bit, and that's always nice to be a little bit surprised.
Yeah,
I love theories.
makes it an adventure.
And right there is where you're talking. You see the Hulk running in the background, and yeah, Bruce Banner's in this movie, but definitely not the Hulk.
You Banner's friend.
Yeah, obviously that last part, it looks like...
Oh no, I don't even like Banner. I prefer the Hulk.
Hulk, Black Widow,
Steve Rogers.
we can call him Nomad. In the comics, he took up the mantle of Nomad, and he wasn't Captain America anymore.
Once again, he referred to himself as Nomad since he lost the mantle of Captain America. Proven right once again.
It looks like he has some type of...
Yes, I distinctly remember multiple times throughout that movie where he called himself that, as did every other character in the Avengers.
Thank you for remembering it accurately.
Running, it looks like he has gloves on. Is he some type of shield they've made for him, or...
Oh yeah, some sort of
vibranium.
some kind of vibranium gloves.
Yep. We don't know. Once again, we'll find out. But I noticed his hands definitely. He's wearing something, so we don't know what that is yet. But we can theorize about it because
He's got longer hair.
If you were being humble there, saying that you didn't know, when clearly you did.
Sometimes you just gotta pretend to be humble. Fake it till you make it.
You CGI out the beard.
No, this is not Justice League. Right. This last part I love. That's not it. Here it is.
What the hell are you guys?
See Groot? The teenage Groot back there? That was pretty cool. But that last part to me, so that part to me, it's like Thor.
Oh, that would have blown people away back then.
Guys, so they obviously found it. And it makes me feel like, all right, everyone else is down there battling, but you know what? Here's the last piece. The Guardians are here. And we're gonna finish this. Because they've been looking for Thanos for 2 movies.
Absolutely, and it could be by the time we can theorize. He's collecting, he's collecting these Infinity Stones. We know he obviously it seems like he has the one from Xandar. So maybe that's early in the movie. He goes to Xandar and collects that stone. We see Doctor Strange in them. Seems like defending his area. Doctor Strange has the time zone. Time Stone.
Time Stone.
And where else would he be going? He's going to go after the Soul Stone, which we're not sure where it is. Could be in Heimdall, could be in Wakanda. He's going to...
Yes, Defender of the Time
so
Zone.
the Tesseract, it looks like he has. The Mind Stone is in Vision. It looks like he's getting it there. The Ether, which is from Thor the Dark World, which is the Reality Stone. If you saw the scene that was released, the Guardians are at the Collector's place, and Thanos basically is grilling the Collector for where it is. The Collector says that he has sold it to somebody. Can't believe the Collector would sell anything. You wouldn't be called the Collector if you sell it.
Right.
So he's probably trying to protect it from Thanos getting a hold of it. We don't know when this scene obviously takes place. Thor was not in it, so it's early on. So maybe if he doesn't get it from the Collector at that point, maybe the Guardians have it. And he's running from that. The Power Stone, which is in Xandar, we already talked about.
Time Stone that Doctor Strange had in his movie. Right?
Yes. He still has it as far as we see in this trailer. Maybe he doesn't. At least it's not in the gauntlet when we see it. And then the final Soul Stone, we don't know where it is. So, this is going to be a huge movie. I mean, the fact that all the Guardians are in it, all of the Avengers, we know Ant-Man, Wasp. I do believe, not Wasp isn't.
I mean, you were definitely 100% correct about that. It's going to be a huge movie. Who could have guessed that?
Nobody.
Only not your status quo.
We were the only ones saying it.
Everyone else said it's going to be a failure, a dumpster fire of a movie. Having all these characters, I'm going to be so confused. I won't know who any of them are. Granted, I haven't seen any of the other MCU movies, but
And Ilbramatic is out in the chat on YouTube. Thanks for coming in. We're just feeling nostalgic and watching some old videos and just laughing about how far we've come with our editing skills.
Wasp is going to be the Avengers 4.
And how long is this movie?
They haven't announced it. We don't know what the running time is for this, but it's got to be...
Upwards of 3 hours.
It's got to be close.
And you can hear my daughter chanting 3 hours. That's when she wasn't a teenager yet and would go see superhero movies with me.
Aww.
She went and saw Ant-Man and the Wasp with, Dave and I. And she actually was like, because we know the post-credit scene when everyone disappears and, Ant-Man is in the quantum realm, so he doesn't. She's like, we got to wait a year to find out what happened? We can't wait. And now I say, hey, there's a new superhero movie, and she rolls her eyes and, goes about her day.
Aww.
Otherwise, it's going to seem rushed and maybe too fast-paced, but, I mean, I hope it's 3 hours. This has been building since the MCU started. Since, the post-credit scene on Iron Man where Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury comes out and says, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
It's been a 10-year build-up. I think it's...
I am Astrobot. I am Astrobot.
So, Sully, would you like to come talk about that game you love so much for a moment?
Okay, so everyone, Astrobot, if you're wondering why it has 5 galaxies, the last one's for the plates for the PS5, by the way.
You basically collect parts of the PS5 to run through the galaxy.
Yeah, through every boss. But for the alien, you get it just defeating them in one part. But for the other bosses, you have to finish their mini levels.
Yeah. Do you think maybe, perhaps, you would want to not stream the game, but record that gameplay and post it to a YouTube channel? Oh,
yes.
Nice.
I'll call it Astro Plays.
Nice. I like it.
I would have it connected to my channel, but I would post all of those first. Then I would have a video saying, guys, this is Dinky Man Salt.
All right, buddy, it's bedtime
Like,
now.
no, yes, sonny. I am Astrobot. I am Astrobot.
Oh, yep.
Okay, that's
You know
way
what?
too close to the camera, dude. If you knock the
By the way,
camera
here's
No,
the
over.
no,
back.
it should actually be closer. If you can put it into the camera, that'd be even
By the
better.
way,
I'm glad
Yeah.
he can't hear you, Doug.
Quite-
I'm glad he cannot hear you. Okay, hey buddy, it is bedtime. Come on, it is a school night. Yeah, give me a.
There you go, Sully. Lick the
Give me a-
camera.
Oh no, good night, buddy. Okay, now back to the final. That part of Not Your Status Quo brought to you by Astrobot.
May 4th, and Iron Man was May 4th, so it's like exactly 10 years. But this, this is the zenith. Everything we've been waiting for. I mean, it's got to be the biggest movie event.
Absolutely.
Maybe of all time.
Yep, I mean, we got that first post-credit scene in Iron Man, letting us know about the Avengers Initiative, and then we got the post-credit scene for the first Avengers with Thanos turning around and smiling. So, I mean, they've had a plan all along. I'm sure they've made changes here and there, but it's just everything's falling into place, and I can't wait to see it.
Been pretty genius, yeah. I can't wait to. I have no idea what the second Avengers movie. I mean, second Avengers Infinity War, or if he's even called that. I don't know. I don't know how you would follow this up with another one. But
Absolutely. Who knows where it's going to be?
Drink.
I mean, they won't announce the title until this comes out, because they said it's kind of a spoiler for something that happens in this movie. So, it's
maybe
going
that'll
to
be
be.
the after credits.
Absolutely. It could be the
Drink.
Infinity Gauntlet. Maybe in this movie it's just him collecting all the stones, and then Avengers 4 is going to be him wielding its power to, as he put, bring a balance to the universe.
That's interesting. I like it. And there's only two movies in between. There's Captain Marvel. and
Were you getting like $1 for every absolutely?
Yes, we got paid by the Absolutely's.
You were just like rapid fire.
That's why we got to drink after it. It'll limit the time we say it.
Right, so next year we get Black Panther in February, Infinity War in May, Ant-Man and the Wasp in July, and then, actually, Captain Marvel is next February,
Oh, I thought it was
2019.
November. Okay.
And then we get Avengers 4, Infinity War maybe?
And this is where Captain Marvel will be in that movie as well.
Yes, Captain Marvel has been confirmed for Avengers 4. Her movie's coming out before it, which is set in the past with the Skrulls, but we can talk about that in another video.
Right, this is just for this preview. Excellent, I can't wait for it.
Fired up.
What else to say?
Can't think of anything except if you like what you see, hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and we'll come back at you soon. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Thank you.
And this is the best part. A homemade note by Miss Tessalita Jones. She drew that herself. It was so well done. So proud. And what a nice... Oh, I didn't hit the transition button. What a nice look back. How fun is that, looking back at our old videos?
That was. And you know what? Kudos to Tess. That was awesome. Thank you. We ended up getting 1 million subscribers just from that. So,
We've
unfortunately,
we're now at 5 million.
right.
So
Oh man, I forgot how many. See, it's been so long since we had that era of the MCU. I forgot like how many like jam-packed major movies, and like this entire time period around between Infinity War and Endgame, it was like these giant crossover events happening, and we had these major things like you guys had called that. You mentioned Captain Marvel is going to come out. Excellent movie, by the way. And then you were theorizing, and this means that come Avengers 4, Captain Marvel is going to be in it.
she was, once again, proven right. And if you heard me, I said, I think it's going to be called Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, you know what? I think I might have heard that.
Some people said, it sounded like you said Infinity Gauntlet. No, I said Endgame.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I bet if I turn subtitles on, it'll.
You're right. That's true. I know after that, like, that's, Kevin Feige called Dave and said, how'd you guys know so much about this movie? Did someone show it to you? Are you guys insiders? And that's really how their friendship kicked off. Just, us knowing so much about what was happening inside Marvel Studios.
That does make sense. I bet some of the people who were putting leaks out on Twitter like that, My Time to Shine, hello and everything, I bet they were just really kind of living in your shadow, kind of trying to implement all the different theorizing abilities that you and Dave showed off in a lot of your early videos. They were thinking, man, if only we could be as 100% correct as Not Your Status Quo is all the time.
And they were probably like, they have someone inside Marvel Studios.
They
We need
have
to get someone inside Marvel Studios so we can get this kind of information that seem like, we're really like, predicting the future. We're so good at accurate at predicting this stuff. But I do like the fact that we still do at the theater reviews. I'm glad that was something we first did, and it stuck around. And I'm glad we have better ways of showing trailers while we're breaking them down instead of, on a TV behind us with a laptop light shining, blocking some of the view, and a lamp in the way, and all that good stuff. But you know what? It's all worth it. I'm glad.
So it's funny that you mentioned the whole trailer breakdown. I think, if I remember right, I'm pretty sure the first video that I took part in, the first Not Your Status Quo video, was a trailer breakdown of Endgame.
Yeah.
We were originally going to do a review of Young Justice, I think, but I don't remember what happened. Something happened, and we ended up we scrapped that, and then we ended up doing we watched the trailer or one of the trailers for Endgame, and I remember we were totally not doing it at work. Wouldn't do that, and totally not using the TV screen in one of the meeting rooms. We definitely did not do that. But yeah, it is funny, kind of the origins that have stayed consistent throughout Not Your Status Quo's history has been the theater reviews and the trailer breakdowns. I love that. And kind of born out of those were the theory paloozas and kind of the deep dives into individual characters and items like the In Focus videos.
Yeah, and the rumor mill rundowns, which
That's
guess
right.
what? We've got some rumors tonight too.
You do.
I do.
Are you saying it's time for a rumor mill rundown?
I am. Are you ready? Now, this first one is part something that was said and part rumor, trying to figure out what he's talking about.
Okay.
But James Gunn had said, I am spending a fair amount of time pre-writing my next DC Studios project. I wonder if that is the Authority movie. Because we know the engineer is going to be in Superman.
Okay.
And we know he's talked about the Authority getting the whole team getting a movie. Some people think it's going to be animated. Other people think it's going to be live action. But we already know that Supergirl had a writer. I can't remember her name. Anna somebody. Lanterns had its own writer with Damon Lindelof, Tom King, and someone else. I can't remember. The Ozark guy. We know that Clayface has its own writer, and the Dr. Sleep guy, I can't remember his name. So I'm thinking it's the Authority, because that's much more sounding of something that he would want to write, as opposed to like the Teen Titans movie or, Batman Brave and the Bold. So I do think he might be writing the Authority, and we'll get other writers for all those other projects. I just thought that was kind of interesting. He likes to drop little tidbits like that on thing, because someone was like, oh yeah, you haven't been talking too much on thing, and he's like, oh, I've been busy, post-production on Peacemaker and Superman, and oh yeah, I've been spending a fair amount of time pre-writing my next project. It's like he knows that's just going to send waves throughout comic Twitter and everything else. So thanks, James Gunn.
Awesome. And yeah, no, I could totally see that, because James Gunn is, as we've mentioned in previous videos and as we've seen, he seems to have this almost preference for, and not so much the underdogs, but the less known characters. And if they don't really have much of a story or much of a background to go off of, he'll invent something, and he's good enough at doing that where it feels like it's a natural part of that world. It's like you hear it. Like, I think a good example would be Nina's background in Creature Commandos. Her background in the comics, fine enough, but not really fleshed out that well. What he did for her new invented background for the Creature Commandos and for his new DC universe, impeccable job, and it really made you feel more for that character. And he's really good at doing that. I actually kind of prefer his reinvented background for Peter Quill.
Yep, I do too. I thought it worked better than him being a prince of Sparta and all that
Right.
other stuff. I definitely did a better job than the comics. It's funny you say that because he was talking too about Victor Frankenstein and the
Okay.
bride from Creature Commandos the other day online. He's like, I'm surprised more people didn't get, what a terrible person I made Victor be. He basically made the bride, then she was like a child and he took advantage of her and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
He's like, Victor's worse than Eric, in my opinion. He said, and what he did to the bride is why she can't trust anybody. And honestly, the only person she can trust was Nina, who is the most, like pure, honest person there was. And that, he goes, I did that as a point to why the bride was that way. And he's like, I'm surprised a lot of people didn't catch on. They didn't think,
You
they
know
didn't
what?
see
I
Victor
don't
as a
think I
bad guy.
caught onto that either. I mean, yeah, I could see, obviously Victor taking advantage of essentially a child, his creation, somebody that he helped birth, give life to. Definitely bad. I don't know that I would say he was more evil than Eric. I think the fact that Eric has been around and lived as long as he has and killed as many as he has, I would say that maybe this is just my opinion. I think he is more evil, but I do understand the point that he was trying to make. The fact that his actions twisted the bride to become what she is, even so far as the point where the person that she trusted the most, she essentially talked her into going off to her death.
Yeah.
And you can kind of trace that back to Victor if you want to as well. So yeah, I can kind of see his point. I disagree with the fact that he was more evil, but I do understand that. Yeah, he is definitely a bad guy. He's not a good guy. There are very few good guys in that entire series.
Very true. Okay, are you ready for our next one?
Ooh, you have more.
Oh, there's a few here.
Ooh, yum yum. All right, yes.
So we found out who the villain of the Nova show is going to be.
Oh, really?
Annihilus.
Oh,
Normally a
okay.
Fantastic Four villain. Very powerful. And reason why this is so important, in my opinion, is because of the major crossover Annihilation, which Annihilus led an annihilation wave through the positive energy universe, and which Nova, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and everybody took him on to basically, and they did say, while he is the villain of the show, Marvel has more plans for him down the road, which I do think is hinting at getting an Annihilation type crossover in the MCU, which please do so. That would be fantastic. It's funny to me.
They need a win. They need a plan, and they need a win, especially coming off of the unfortunate crash and burn of the whole Kang thing that they had planned to go on with. The fact that he was going to be the big bad to lead going into this and everything. I'm glad that they're thinking this through, trying to come up with something that hopefully will stick, and
it's-
hopefully whoever they pick to be their actor doesn't do any crimes.
Let's hope so. It's funny you mentioned, the change from Kang to Doom, basically, because of the thing, Originally, Doctor Strange played a major part in the Kang Dynasty, which was supposed to be Avengers 5. Now that it got changed to Doomsday, Benedict Cumberbatch said, I'm not even in Doctor Strange isn't in the movie anymore. So they, unfortunately, wrote him out of that movie. He said he'll be back for Secret Wars, and he'll be back for Doctor Strange 3, but basically because they had to change it up, he's no longer in the next Avengers movie, which is sad because Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch is great as Doctor Strange, but hopefully we still get a good movie. And now, another rumor.
Ooh,
This is a Doomsday rumor.
okay.
Who Chris Evans is playing in Avengers Doomsday.
Oh yeah.
Not Captain America.
Yeah, I kind of figured, but all right.
Not the Human Torch.
Okay.
He is going to be playing Hydra Supreme Captain America from the Secret Empire comics.
Okay.
And he is
all
going
right,
to
now-
be standing
like.
alongside Doctor Doom against the Avengers.
Okay, so this is definitely multiverse counterparts. These are, okay. I've been waiting to hear something that would kind of clarify, because ever since they brought back, they paraded Robert Downey Jr. and had him take off the Doom mask, I'm like, they have got to give us a good explanation for this, because so many people are saying, well, it's not Victor Von Doom. It's not Victor Von. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. They're calling him Doctor Doom. Please, Marvel, you guys have got to give us something. Just give us some crumbs that let us know why you're bringing such a well-known actor who played essentially the beginning, the birthing of your universe, of your cinematic universe. Like, how you're going to get him to come back and play a totally different character. But now that you've mentioned we're going to have Hydra, Captain America, awesome. That is so cool. You know what? I think I saw a couple of, like, fan-made posters, people posting that. So this must have been a rumor that's circulating over the past couple of days, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely.
I figured as much. Okay. Because I saw that on, I think, Threads. I saw somebody had shared a fan-made poster, and I'm like, oh, that would be cool to see. But I didn't read it. I didn't, like, do any more investigation. I just saw the picture, like, oh, that's a cool idea.
That's cool.
So
that's
I really
cool.
hope that's a true rumor. I'd like to see that.
It would be nice seeing, like, the current Avengers taking on Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr., and, Hydra Supreme, Chris Evans. I think that's a neat twist. It'll get people in the seats. Now,
Oh gosh, imagine if he made like an America's ass joke, but he was like, that's Hydra's hips," something like that.
and Shakira comes out. Those hips don't lie. And this is why we don't write for the MCU.
Right. I would find that funny. I would chuckle in the theater. Everybody else would be like, "Oh, really?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, more of that."
More. Now, this isn't so much a rumor. Well, maybe it's kind of a rumor, but supposedly the episode titles for Daredevil Born Again have been revealed.
Oh, really? All right.
Optics is one of the
Oh, because
titles.
he's blind.
And maybe just how it looks, the optics of the situation. Maybe don't look good for Daredevil versus the Kingpin or something. I don't know.
Nothing really looks good for Daredevil.
That's true. Good point. He can't tell the color of his masks. And then, Isle of Joy.
Okay.
I think he's in a supermarket, and there's a lot of,
Joy, floor cleaner.
or Joy, Almond Joys,
Oh, yeah. Okay, that tracks.
with interest. So we're going to get a banking episode.
He's gonna have to. Oh, you know what? He's got to pay back taxes. So yeah.
Yep.
City of New York.
Straight to Hell.
They're gonna be just driving by Hell's Kitchen, like, oh, okay. Then that's the end of the episode.
Should we take the long route to Hell's Kitchen, or just go straight? Let's just go straight to Hell. Then this one sounds like an episode where the Punisher will be in it. Excessive force.
Oh yeah, that definitely. Either that or, we do see in the trailer that he mentions crossing a line or like going too far. I wonder if that's going to be maybe. I think you're right. I think the Punisher will be in that, but I also think maybe this is going to be perhaps a mini flashback or Daredevil talking about maybe why he decided to hang up the mask.
Yeah. Or it could be the episode where he is beating the living crap out of Muse, because we did see a bit of that in a trailer.
Okay.
Like, yeah, he did something personal to him, and he did it. And then art for art's sake, which that sounds very much like a Muse-centric episode, because we know he likes to be very artistic in the way he kills and set things up. It's
Yeah.
he's like Banksy. He's like serial killer Banksy.
Watch, it's just going to be an episode where Kingpin takes Vanessa or someone to like the museum, like, and this is one of my favorite pieces.
When I was a boy, this. And then we have Heaven's Half Hour, which I thought these episodes were going to be a little more than 30 minutes, but sounds like. Then we have Sic Semper Systema, which I have no idea what that means. And then The Hollow of His Hand.
Interesting.
Wait, how many is that? That's only 9. Oh, wait, there is 9 episodes in the first season. because we get 9 first season, 9 second season, and then hopefully we get more seasons after that. But
I hope so.
don't really learn much from those. But
At the same time, while I do hope we get additional seasons, I do kind of wish that Marvel would kind of go the same route that James Gunn is, where they don't announce things, they don't make plans for things until they have a story written. One of the things that I noticed, I know I'm taking this back to our first video, but one of the things that I noticed, I picked up on Thor Ragnarok that I kind of forgot about, that was kind of like a big thing in the MCU. It seems like it's fallen off a little bit lately, but one of the big things was it was very clear that with every movie, once they made it obvious that this was going to be an interconnected universe and we were going to have these crossover events, then they would do a lot of establishing things in every movie to set up the next one. Like, for instance, we've got the fact that Thor loses his hammer, he loses Mjolnir, and so in Infinity War, he has to go get his new weapon made. That becomes like a big quest that goes on with Rocket. There's so many things. The fact that they've got to find a new Asgard, the fact that they're in that ship to begin with, which allows Thanos to attack them. There's so many interconnected pieces, and I love that they used to do that so well, because it was like you could end one movie, start the next one, and they meshed together so well.
it's kind of like watching Rogue One and then starting A New Hope.
Yeah.
And soon
Yes.
it'll be watching Andor season 1 and 2, then watching Rogue One, and then watching A New Hope. Which I can't wait to do that.
I can't wait to do that.
38 hours of television. It'll be fantastic.
Yes.
But you're right. They did seem to interconnect a little better, and I'm hoping post-multiversal saga, they get back to it a little bit.
I hope so, too.
It's okay to have standalone projects that don't really interconnect too well
Yeah, sure.
and just tell a good story, but it's nice having those things like, where you see the post-credit scene is Sanctuary 2 showing up outside that Asgardian ship, and then that's how Infinity War started. Just a nice way to handle
It
things.
felt like there was actual communication and thought between all of their writers and directors. Like, everything had been thought out and planned for. The only thing that I can think of, and I haven't been able to find clarification on whether this is true or not, but I don't know how soon they started filming Infinity War after Ragnarok. I don't know if they were happening around the same time, but I got to thinking, I wonder if they were filming scenes from Infinity War where Thor had both of his eyes, and then maybe they had to kind of retroactively fix that in the beginning of the film because he lost it in Ragnarok. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure if that was the case, or if it was they just you know what, we don't feel like putting him in an eye patch for the whole movie.
I bet they would have to know something like that, because by the time they started filming, they probably said, "Hey, just so you know, Thor loses an eye." Oh, good to know. Which eye? Okay, good. But it's funny you say that, because I don't know if you know this. The post-credit scene from Thor: The Dark World, where Sif and I can't remember, Volstagg, I think, bring the Reality Stone to the Collector. James Gunn filmed that while doing Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That is cool. That is good info. All right. That would make a lot of sense. I mean, he would have had the set already built, because that was a major part. The Collector was a major part of Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, that tracks. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time, and I saw it somewhere else. James Gunn had said, "Oh yeah," and I recorded that. That we did that on set of Guardians because Benicio del Toro was on set and they wanted to do it, and he's like, it made total sense, so I filmed it. I was like, that's pretty
so
cool.
See, that's the kind of stuff that I love, and I do hope that they kind of get back to that. Yeah, while I do agree with you, standalone projects, they're fine, but I do like the feeling that this was such an interconnected world, so much, even more outside of the movies. The fact that we've got the directors and the writers all clearly working together.
Yep, and hopefully we get back to that. It's a little easier outside of a multiversal saga, and I think so. When we're getting X-Men mutant stuff and everything in the next phase, and whatever. Oh, well, actually, this next rumor is probably post Secret Wars, so it could be Phase 7.
Okay.
So, Armor Wars is still happening. It is just currently on hold.
Really?
Likely going to release after Secret Wars, Story's
Okay.
going to be entirely different than it was from the original pitch. They basically kind of decided to rewrite it after a special investigation and how much backlash it received. Someone said Secret Invasion, but I wasn't sure what that was. I'm pretty sure they're referring to Special
Oh,
Investigation.
it was this great comic book series. It had they haven't made a TV show or movie based off of it yet, which is a shame. They really should. It was an excellent comic run.
I think we actually did a back issue breakdown of Secret Invasion on our channel.
You know what? I think we did.
So go check that
I
out.
can't wait till they turn that into a show or movie.
I know, with all the like super scrolls and everything that were running around.
Oh
and
yeah. Oh man, just imagine.
you would have to have all the heroes. It would have to be the scale of Infinity War because all the heroes needed to fight them and everything.
Right? And just think, like it'd be tons of mystery that you would care about. You'd be invested in.
Would be
but
awesome.
It's a shame it hasn't happened yet.
Very true, very true. Now this last one isn't a rumor.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this has happened.
Uh,
Terrible news. I really,
oh.
I feel terrible. I'm probably the one breaking it to you, and I apologize.
Uh-huh.
But Madam Web was not nominated in any category in the Oscars this year.
What?
How it was overlooked, I don't know. But
How?
it has been snubbed by the Oscars. Craven and Madam Web have both been snubbed. And
Okay,
I just
Craven I understand, but Madam Web was a work of art. The amount of effort that went into the editing, the interesting ADR choices, I mean, the complete lack of inclusion of any actual superheroes, I mean, all of those choices alone, it should have won it should have won categories in editing, in post-production, in voice work, in
original scripts.
oh my gosh, right? It was the most original script, as it had absolutely nothing to do with any existing medium.
You know, the fact that they had to trick Sydney Sweeney, not trick her, but force her to do this movie so she could make the rom-com that she wanted to make, that ended up making Boku just buckets of money for the studio while Madam Web lost millions. Yeah.
Oh man.
So disappointing.
Oh boy, that's in all honesty, I don't know what has become of me. I've been transformed into this like garbage goober that is just consuming trash movies and TV shows. Keith, I have gone back and I've rewatched Madam Web. I've done so by choice.
You know, I kind of do get that.
So
Because
funny. It is so hilarious.
that was we see some bad movies sometimes, and we like watch it and just leave. But that one, we were all like, what did we just watch?
What were the
That made no
choices
sense. I mean, we laughed out loud a lot in that movie. Not because things were funny. Well, things were
Well,
funny.
no, I mean, they were not intentional. They weren't
Yes.
intentionally funny, but they were funny.
They made choices that made zero sense, and I applaud them for it.
Oh, it was a good thing we were the only ones in the theater too.
It certainly
boy.
was. Well, I think that's all we got tonight. Don't know if you want to find somebody to raid. We probably should.
Oh, yeah. That might be a good idea. Let's see here. What do we got going on? Let's see. We've got Tiny Velker. We've got Bubble.
We got T-Pain, but I think
T-Pain's
after the
still on,
last time, after he said, "Oh, thanks for
Yeah.
the 3,"
Yeah, he's not gonna like 2. So, well, I don't know. I mean, do you want to raid anybody? Doesn't look like we have a whole lot of people on Twitch tonight.
yeah, we really don't.
So we could if you want to, and if
You
we
know
do,
what?
we could go with maybe Laura Dreaming. She's only got 7 people in there.
Oh, Keol is playing Baldur's Gate 3 and only has 3.
Oh, hey, yeah, okay. I do like Baldur's Gate 3. I'd like to actually play it. I've watched a lot of other people play it, and it looks like a really fun game.
I have owned that game for over a year now, and I still have not started
Yep.
it.
Huh.
Only because I I beat Baldur's Gate 1, the expansion pack, Baldur's Gate 2, the expansion pack. My old roommates used to say it was my second job because I'd like come home and just start playing for hours and hours. I just don't have time. Like you have to be able to sit down.
Oh, no.
It's not like Marvel Rivals or something like that where you can have 20 minutes and you just start playing and play a match and you're done. Like you have to invest some time, and I just haven't had the time to do it, which is very disappointing because I love the first two. And of course,
Yeah, I was so excited to get my Nintendo Switch, and I've barely had time to play it. I actually can't tell you the last time I played a video game. It's been a long time.
I did play a video game today.
Ah, nice.
With my son having a PS5 now, I did end up getting Spider-Man.
Ooh, I've heard that is a phenomenal game.
I beat the... Sorry about that. I beat the Kingpin up today. The beginning, I love the beginning of the game because you basically go to Fisk Tower and take out the Kingpin. You're helping the police and stuff, and then once you take him out, he's like being taken away. He's like, you'll regret what you've done because I've held this city in check. All the crazies are going to come out of the woodwork now. You're going to see a gang war like you won't believe. And I'm like, oh, that's neat because I'm sure now after this it's going to start getting a little nutty. Okay, we're about to raid.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think I mentioned it in our Kingpin In Focus, but one of my favorite comics that involves Spider-Man beating up Kingpin, I want to say it was like Spider-Man in Black or something. I don't remember the name of it, but essentially he thinks that Aunt May is going to die because the Kingpin does something to her, and he goes in not as Spider-Man, he goes in just as Peter Parker, and just lays into Kingpin, does not hold back.
Nice. And we're going to raid in 7 seconds, so thanks everybody for coming out. We'll definitely be back. I don't know about Sunday, but maybe next Thursday, but we're off.
Oh, it's quick.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.